The virtual engines are roaring towards the May 27th and 30th F125 release. But the FIA's real-world race is against time. With Mohammed Ben Sulayem facing mounting pressure, can they outpace the growing tide of controversy? That's the high-stakes race the FIA is running. But what's fueling this pressure cooker? It's not just about the noise, it's about the very foundations of Formula One. To truly grasp the situation, we need to break down the controversies, measure Mohammed Ben Sulayem against his predecessors, and look ahead at the potential contenders. Let's uncover the truth behind the FIA's battle against time. Mohammed Ben Sulayem's tenure, key controversies, alleged interference in race results, Ben Sulayem's FIA reign, let's just say it's been eventful. First up, the 2023 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. The core allegation here isn't just a minor rule tweak, it's direct interference. Allegedly, he pressured stewards to overturn Fernando Alonso's penalty. We're talking about a move that shifted Alonso from fourth to a celebratory third, his landmark 100th podium. And how, you ask? A direct call to an FIA vice president reportedly. Just like that, the penalty was reversed, impacting not just a race result, but a driver's career milestone. But the drama doesn't stop there. Then comes Las Vegas. A whistleblower claims Ben Sulayem tried to derail the entire race, actively seeking reasons to deny its certification. Imagine that. A president allegedly trying to shut down a Grand Prix. High-stakes power play, anyone? The FIA's response? Investigation underway. Naturally, because when you're the FIA president, controversy is just another lap in the race. So, is this just a series of unfortunate events? Or is there a pattern here? And, for the record, this is not the end of the list. Conflict of interest, investigation. Now, just when you thought the FIA's hands were full, enter the Wolffs. Toto, Mercedes's powerhouse team principal, and Susie, head of F1 Academy. Sounds like a power couple, right? Well, under Sulayem's presidency, the FIA decided it looked more like a conflict of interest. Out of nowhere, the FIA launches an investigation, claiming potential information sharing between the two. Whispers of insider knowledge, strategic advantages, you know, the usual F1 paddock gossip. But this time, with official FIA stamps. The reaction was predictably explosive. Mercedes, F1, and all 9 other teams, they weren't just annoyed, they were furious. Accusations of baseless claims, political maneuvering, it was a full-blown paddock war. And just as quickly as it started, the FIA backed down. Investigation dropped, gone. So, what was it? A genuine concern or a political miscalculation? Either way, it left a trail of distrust and a very public embarrassment for the FIA, making you wonder who's really calling the shots here. And more importantly, what's next in this FIA soap opera? The jewelry ban. So, the Wolff investigation vanished faster than a pit stop record. But don't think for a second that's the end of Ben Sulayem's adventures. Because while the FIA was busy untangling the Wolff web, they decided to drop another bombshell. A rule change that had the entire F1 grid raising their eyebrows, and not in a good way. Let's just say it involved a bit of self-expression and a whole lot of controversy. Yes, we're talking about the great jewelry crackdown. Because apparently, in the high-octane world of Formula One, a necklace or a piercing is a bigger safety hazard than, say, a high-speed collision. But hey, who are we to question the FIA's priorities? The FIA decided the real danger in F1 was jewelry. Yes, necklaces, piercings, watches, the works. A sudden, strict enforcement of existing safety regulations, which had largely been ignored for years. Apparently, a diamond stud could be the difference between life and death at 200 miles per hour. The drivers? They weren't thrilled. Lewis Hamilton, in particular, made his feelings clear, showing up to a press conference practically dripping in jewels. A clear and rather stylish act of defiance. The FIA's reasoning? Safety, of course. They cited potential fire hazards and complications in emergency situations. but the timing and the sudden crackdown raised eyebrows. The controversy highlighted a growing tension between the drivers and the FIA, a perception of unnecessary micromanagement and a lack of consultation. And ultimately, it raised the question, in a sport where drivers risk their lives every race, is a necklace really the hill worth dying on? Or was this a show of force from a president trying to assert his authority? Next up, the FIA's alleged attempts to muzzle its own people. More on that, and the legal threats. Coming right up, gagging order, allegations. After the jewelry showdown, Ben Sulayem's FIA decided to explore new ways to manage communication. Enter the alleged gagging order. Yes, you heard that right. Reports surfaced that the FIA under Ben Sulayem was attempting to silence dissenting voices within its ranks, because apparently transparency is just a suggestion. The charge? Motorsport UK chairman David Richards, no shrinking violet, publicly accused Sulaym of imposing a gagging order on senior figures. He claimed the FIA was threatening legal action against anyone who dared to speak out against its decisions. Because, in the world of F1, where every millisecond counts apparently, so does every word. The alleged reason? Disagreements over the World Motorsport Council, WMSC. You know, the group that's supposed to be shaping the future of motorsport. But apparently, even discussing their decisions was a no-go. The message was clear: toe the line or face the consequences. Talk about a chilling effect. The president's response? Predictably tight-lipped. Because when you're accused of silencing your critics, the best defense is, well, silence. The whole affair left many wondering, is this about maintaining order or stifling dissent? And in a sport built on competition, is anyone really winning if they're not allowed to speak their mind? Next up, a little disagreement over the actual value of Formula One. Because apparently, even the price tag of the world's most glamorous motorsport is up for debate. Yes, we're talking about a public clash with F1's owners. Because when you're the FIA president, why not throw a little financial controversy into the mix? More on this, and the $20 billion elephant in the room. Coming right up, Ben Sulayem decided to weigh in on the financial worth of Formula One, and apparently he wasn't impressed. He publicly questioned the sport's valuation, specifically the reported $20 billion figure linked to potential Saudi Arabian investment. Because when you're the FIA president, why not publicly undermine the sport's commercial value? This wasn't just a casual observation. This was a direct challenge to F1's owners, Liberty Media, a challenge that didn't go down well. Lawyers were involved. Cease and desist letters were exchanged. Apparently, even the FIA president can't just casually throw out numbers without consequences. The implication? Ben Sulayem's comments could negatively impact F1's market value, potentially deterring investors. A bold move, some might say. Others, they saw it as a massive miscalculation, a public spat over billions of dollars. The official response? Predictably muted. Because when you're facing legal threats, silence is often the safest strategy. But the damage was done. A public display of discord between the FIA and F1's owners, and yet another controversy under Ben Sulayem's watch, making you wonder, is this leadership or just a series of high-profile missteps? Comparison with past presidents. Now, let's talk about precedents, because history, as they say, has a habit of illuminating the present. Take Jean Todt, 2009 to 2021. His tenure? A masterclass in damage control. When controversies arose, and they always do, Todt's approach was more boardroom diplomacy than public brawl. A stark contrast to the current president's headline, grabbing spats. Then there was Max Mosley, 1993 to 2009, a man who knew how to wield power, some might say a little too well. But one thing was clear: Mosley established a firm command, rule enforcement consistent, decisions decisive. Unlike the current trend of penalty reversals and rule clarifications, that seemed to change with the wind. And let's not forget Jean-Marie Balestre, 1985 to 1993. A man of unapologetic authority, he shaped the sport with an iron fist. For good or ill, his vision was clear, clearer than the current fog of confusion surrounding many recent FIA decisions. And Ben Sulayem? Well, he certainly carved out a unique path, a path paved with controversy, public spats, reverse decisions, and a communication strategy that seems to involve more legal threats than dialogue. Future candidates. So, where does this leave us? A presidency defined by controversy, a stark contrast to the leaders of the past, and now, whispers of change. Susie Wolff, a name familiar to the paddock, is reportedly considering a run for the FIA's top job. A candidate who might bring a very different approach, perhaps a return to diplomacy or a new era entirely. But one thing's for sure, the future of the FIA is as unpredictable as a Monaco Grand Prix in the rain. And after Ben Sulayem's tenure, one thing is certain, the next president will have a lot to clean up. The FIA's future hangs in the balance. Will it be Wolff or another contender? What do you think? Let us know in the comments. Stay tuned for further updates. See you in the next video.